Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Autistic Professor. Have you ever wondered why some people grow out of their autism? It seems like a logical question if you're a follower of social media and you see the stories from celebrities about how they cured their child's autism by taking them for a long stay in the outback or feeding them a diet of mung beans and herbal tea. It also seems like a logical question if you look at the statistics on autism incidents. For example, the Australian Bureau of Statistics reports that autism is most prevalent among children aged 5 to 14. Now, I'm not going to get sidetracked with why the statistics are so misleading, but if you are interested in more on that, comment below and I'll explain it in a future video. So why do some people grow out of their autism? The answer is, drumroll, they don't. Autism is a lifelong condition. Autistic children grow up to be autistic adults. Now, studies that have looked at data over a long time have found that only a tiny proportion of people diagnosed as young children lose their autism diagnosis as they get older. In most of these cases, this means that the child is later diagnosed with another condition that shares some characteristics with autism and becomes more evident as they grow older. In one large-scale American study of 1,576 children diagnosed with autism, only 8 had a doctor or other professional later confirm that they were not autistic and did not have any other developmental, learning, emotional, or mental health condition. That's 8 out of 1,576. A later study, also in the United States, found that of 569 children diagnosed with autism, only 3 were later found not to be autistic or have an alternative diagnosis. So maybe some children are initially misdiagnosed, just as people are misdiagnosed with a range of other conditions. So that's probably not surprising. But what about those research studies that report on children who no longer met the criteria for a diagnosis of either autism or another condition and conclude that they did in fact grow out of or were cured of their autism? Let's talk about one of those studies. In 2014, a group of research psychiatrists studied 34 people aged 8 to 21 who were diagnosed with autism before the age of 5, but no longer met the criteria for a diagnosis. They defined this as the optimal outcome. But let's dig a little deeper into that optimal outcome. Now, the authors commented that one of the unexpected findings of their study was that the optimal outcome group, that's the people who no longer met the criteria for an autism diagnosis, is that they tended to have high IQs. The authors suggested that perhaps this allowed for this group of people to identify and compensate for their social differences. Now, we know that many autistic people learn to mask their behaviours and thought patterns from a young age, and this is particularly common with girls. They learn to fit in and to be accepted by their peers. They need to act and speak like neurotypical people. Masking is physically and emotionally draining, and it leads to a range of negative outcomes, such as exhaustion, burnout, anxiety, depression, as well as negative self-perception and low self-esteem. Now, that really doesn't sound to me like an optimal outcome. I'm really not convinced that what we should be aiming for is to no longer meet the diagnostic criteria for autism. Autistic children don't grow into neurotypical adults. They grow into autistic adults who are underserviced, isolated, and stigmatized. Until our employers, educational institutions, governments, and communities fully understand this, we will continue to fail to provide them with appropriate educational and employment opportunities and appropriate opportunities to participate fully in all aspects of society. So will your child grow out of their autism? Probably not. But let's keep the conversation going on how we can support all autistic people to grow into their autism. Thank you for listening, and I hope that information was useful. Feel free to comment below if there's anything else you would like me to talk to you about, and Please feel free to follow us on social media or suggest content for other videos. And I hope you have a lovely week.